Tampa Bay and Florida are in a tight race at the top of the Atlantic Division, while the Philadelphia Flyers still can't win a game. We'll be looking at both sides of the equation with the 5 hottest and 5 coldest teams in the NHL. Let's go. Hey everybody, it is time once again to look at the 5 hottest and 5 coldest teams in the NHL. There are some teams playing great right now, other teams definitely struggling. We'll take a look at both sides of the coin here, and I like to start with the positive, so we'll do the hot teams first. Coming in at number 5, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto is 7-2-1 in their last 10 games. They've won 2 in a row. The Leafs are playing good hockey right now. They've got games in hand on a lot of the other teams around them. And, they're looking strong to be a good team in the regular season this year. Look like they're going to easily be a playoff team. It's really about what Toronto does in the playoffs that matters. But so far, so good in the regular season. And they're playing really well right now. At number 4, we've got the Minnesota Wild. They are also 7-2-1 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. Minnesota has gotten really hot here, making another strong push in the Central. Looks like they're going to try and move out of that wild card spot and into a top 3 spot in the Central Division. But Minnesota's had a great year this year. They're certainly playing well right now. They've won 7 out of 10. Tampa Bay Lightning come in at number 3, 8-2-0 in their last 10 games. They've won 2 in a row. And both Florida teams, as we see here, are playing really well right now. Tampa Bay, 8 out of 10, very strong team, defending champs, playing well right now. About what you would expect from this team. Florida Panthers, they're at number 2, also 8-2-0 in their last 10, also on a 2-game winning streak. Just a little bit ahead of Tampa Bay in the standings, but both of these Florida teams having phenomenal years and playing really, really well right now. And both of them, I think, are going to be very difficult teams to play in the playoffs. And if we're lucky, we might get a playoff matchup between the Panthers and the Lightning. That'd be absolutely sick. But right now, both of them playing at pretty much an equal level. That leaves number 1. And number 1, very, very clearly, the Colorado Avalanche here. 9-0-1 in their last 10 games. They're on a 9-game winning streak, easily the longest active winning streak in the NHL. And Colorado is just absolutely ripping it up right now. It's kind of crazy how good they've been. They've won 17 straight home games. They've won 19 home games already this season. And they're playing great hockey right now. Obviously, haven't lost in regulation, 9 out of 10. Just tearing it up, leading the Western Conference. And Colorado had a little bit of a shaky start to the season. The first month or so has absolutely gotten back to being one of, if not the best teams in the NHL. And I think it's going to be another year where Colorado is right there at the top of the league, trying to get that number 1 overall spot. And they're certainly capable of winning it. So Colorado, hottest team in the NHL right now, absolutely on fire. Now we got to switch over to the cold side of things. These are the teams that are really, really struggling. And coming in at number 5, we have the Winnipeg Jets. What a disappointing season it's been for the Winnipeg Jets. They're just 3-5-2 in their last 10 games. They've lost 2 in a row in regulation. And they're really struggling right now. And they're outside of the playoff picture. It's going to take a lot, I think, for them to get back into the playoff picture. There's a lot of teams that they would have to jump over to get a playoff spot. And honestly, I haven't seen anything from the Winnipeg Jets this year that makes me think that they can do it. They've been wildly disappointing this season, extremely inconsistent, and they haven't really been able to put any sort of long stretches of winning together. And that's why I don't think the Jets are going to make the playoffs at this point. I haven't seen them go on that type of run that could get them into a playoff spot. And they've been really, really struggling recently, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. So Winnipeg's in at number 5. Number 4, we have the Arizona Coyotes. They're just 3-6-1 in their last 10 games. They've lost 4 in a row. And, I mean, it's not overly unexpected to have Arizona on this list, but they've stayed off it for a while, but not this week, as they are back on. And that 4-game losing streak definitely not helping there. We'll see if they can get things turned around, but clearly the bottom team in the Central Division, one of the bottom teams in the league. Arizona is in the Shane Wright sweepstakes, and I wouldn't expect too many more wins from them. Coming in at number 3, the New Jersey Devils. They are 3-7-0 in their last 10 games. They've lost 3 straight in regulation. And, man, New Jersey started the year pretty well. They were a team that was getting a lot of talk for the first, couple months of the season as, a team that's overachieving, a team that's been better than a lot of us expected them to be. Well, that hasn't held up as the year's gone on. As we've gone through, through November, December, now most of January, the Devils have just fallen and fallen and fallen. And, yeah, I mean, they're back down, non-playoff team. I still think they're a couple years away. They've got some really good young players. They've got some really good young players that haven't made it to the NHL yet and will be added to that lineup over the next couple years. But until they're actually a threat in the Eastern Conference and have a chance to actually make the playoffs, I still think they're a couple years away from that. And I think the middle portion of this season is showing why. Number 2, we've got the Montreal Canadiens. Just 1-6-3 in their last 10 games. They've lost 2 in a row in regulation, and they only have 1 win out of 10. The disaster of a year for Montreal continues. It's certainly not going to get any better at any point. I think they're going to be unloading at the trade deadline, getting rid of as many guys with value as they can in exchange for assets. And, yeah, I mean, this has just been the kind of year it's been for the Canadiens, and I don't expect that to drastically change at any point. So a tough one for Montreal, but just 1 win out of 10. That's a rough stretch. And finally, number 1, this one I think is pretty obvious. It's the Philadelphia Flyers. 0-8-2 in their last 10 games. Lost 4 in a row in regulation, but their winless streak, when you start counting in OT losses, is actually up to 13. Obviously, no wins in their last 10 games. Just an absolutely brutal stretch for the Philadelphia Flyers. They are completely out of it now in the Eastern Conference. I mean, no shot for this team to make the playoffs. Their year is done. It's just going to be about what they do at the trade deadline now. Do they go into full rebuild, or do they try and somewhat stay competitive for next year? I don't know what they're going to do. This is just not the situation that the Flyers or their fans were expecting or hoping to be in. But it's been another year just as bad, if not maybe slightly worse than last year. And that's really, really disappointing for the Philadelphia Flyers. But with 0 wins in their last 10, they are pretty clearly the coldest team in the NHL right now. So there you have it, everybody. The 5 hottest and 5 coldest teams in the league right now. We'll have to see what happens this coming week. Obviously, some of these teams playing really, really well. Some of these teams really good all year, whilst these other teams not playing well right now, and some of them haven't really played well much at all this season. So we'll see what the list looks like next week, how much it changes. But for right now, those are your hottest and coldest teams. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, our merchandise store, memberships, and donation links are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.